And we are live. There's a blue thing rather than a yellow thing. That confused me slightly. But yeah, welcome to Pair of Gigs 2. This is weird because I'm not running this session, nor was I in the session beforehand. And we have way more people. This is session 2 of Phil's campaign Signs and Portents for D&D. And I might as well stop talking because I have no idea what's going to happen in this next session.
Well, that's very handy. Yes, Signs and Portents, session 2. As you can see, we are multiplying. We have 2 new players coming in, and as we left last week's game, our party was fleeing the citadel in Radcliffe, looking to get out of the city as fast as possible. They are going to use the quickest route possible to the river gate and abandon the city. The lady Cressida has asked the party if they could escort her back to the capital because obviously her life is in danger, and they are the only people that seems to be able to protect her because her guards failed quite dramatically so far. So, as the party nears the river gate, the city is now fairly quiet. It's dark, and as you reach the jetty where the river barge is moored up, there's quite a lot of bustle on board the boat, getting it prepared to go. And you can see several characters on the boat, just sort of like getting oars ready, loosening ropes and such like. And a couple of people run out across the gangplank to the shore and start loading on boxes and stuff from pack horses that have been brought down. And the lady Cressida dismounts her steed and sort of brushes her clothes down. And she turns to the guards that have come with you from the citadel. And she says, make sure that those messages I have written go out by bird immediately. There are requests for reinforcements for the city guard, so you shouldn't be undermanned for more than a couple of days before some help reaches you. And she turns and starts walking towards the gangplank. And as she just reaches the gangplank, she sort of stops and looks back. And she says to the party, don't think I've forgotten your help today. You will still be rewarded. Obviously, my position is different from what it was at the moment, so don't worry, you have not been forgotten. And then she boards the boat, and you can all follow her. As she boards the boat, a man comes forward carrying a lute. And he says, "My lady, I wasn't expecting you." And she says to him, "No, we've had to leave in rather a rush. If you can get the boat ready, and we'll be leaving forthwith." And she turns and heads off to her cabin, followed by her ladies in waiting, as more men come aboard carrying boxes and bags and such like. And then the rest of the party come onto the boat, and this lute player introduces himself as they come on. So who's first on board?
I would not presume to be first.
I'm happy to go first.
Greetings. Would you like a song?
Tell me what your character looks like, Ronnie.
Tell
me what your character looks like.
He is somewhat slim. He's about 5'7", 5'8". He has long It would have been sort of silvery hair, but he's taken some wood dyes to it, and he's got sort of black streaks running through it to make himself look a bit more. He kind of looks like the lead singer of The Damned, for anyone who has a picture of that in their head, with that sort of punk street hairstyle. Wearing, well, they are traveling clothes, but they're slightly richer, a bit more silk than your standard traveling clothes. And yes, I do have a lute in one hand. You can see that in a small backpack, I also have a flute, a wooden flute. And you can tell from my sort of appearance that I am half elven.
So Rorik looks you up and down, mainly sort of looking up like that. He is a little short. Internally, he thinks that your clothes are a little impractical, but sort of shrugs and says, maybe later.
Weary, do not worry. I can do a good lullaby for you. Don't worry about a thing. Welcome, welcome, welcome all. This will be quite the journey.
Meanwhile, we're having this chat. There's several crewmen pushing their way past, carrying bits and pieces. They're obviously under orders to get underway as soon as possible. So who's next on board?
I look nervously at our rogue. Hang on, I remember the name, Valin.
I'll go. I'll walk up the plank. I'm happy to go next.
Okay. So you come across. Once your feet touch the deck, a crewman comes up to you and says, "We're going to be short of cabins on this cruise." He says, "You're going to have to share. You're going to share with the bard. If that's all right."
Is that to me? Is it?
Yes.
Right. Okay, fine.
You are going to be sharing my cabin?
Seems to be.
I must know two things, sir, and they are rather important.
Okay.
Firstly, do you snore?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, that could be of help. If you had said yes, I was going to at least ask if you snored rhythmically.
So the crewman who talked to Valin looks across at the figure still left on the key. Come on, we're on a schedule here. We've got to get going.
I'm heading to my cabin at this point.
You coming or not?
I'll sort of keep my head down, focused on my feet as I cross the plank on to get on board, and tentatively step down onto the boat.
Okay, so he says, "I'm afraid we're going to have to put you in with the handmaidens. We just don't have space. But if you'd like to put your kit over there, we'll get it sorted in a minute. We're just going to start. We're going to shove off."
I slowly look up, lift my head up toward him to face him. There, lass.
And he's a bit startled with the mask. He said, "Well, yeah, okay." He's not quite seen anything like that before. He turns and shouts, "Raise the portcullis!" And the portcullis that blocks the river gate starts moving up, and the sailors push out into the river, and they start rowing against the Earbeast flow. And a few lights come on in a few houses as the noise of the portcullis raises up. and you might see a few heads poke out of windows to see what's going on. But soon you're outside the city walls and on the main river. And you can see a few people on the banks from the shanty town that lies outside along the river for a few hundred yards. But after that, the moon shines on the black water ahead, and all is silent and peaceful as you leave the city behind. So sailors rush around getting you stowed and stored away. Valen is shown to a cabin. I'm afraid he's sharing with the first mate of the boat, and Valen is sharing with how'd you pronounce your name, Ronnie?
Muted.
My name is pronounced Hadarai.
Hadarai. So you're sharing with Hadarai. Rorik, I'm afraid you've been dumped in with some of the crew, but they are sort of like the first mate. And Kat, you're actually put in with the three handmaidens of Lady Cressida's. And that is really it might seem like the better of the options, but with four of you in the cabin, it is a really tight squeeze. They do have an awful lot of stuff with them.
I don't need a bed or anything. I just like to sleep in the sunlight.
Okay, so you could probably find somewhere on deck if you really needed to, but I know you sleep for quite a long time.
Out of choice.
It's a choice. You could give it up at any time.
So I don't know if any of you are staying up, or you're going to start seeing if you can get some sleep. It's been quite an eventful night for you so far.
There's an option of sleep. Bye.
I would probably have a bit of a nightcap, especially if the crew need to stay up to. I don't know if they're rowing at this point or.
Well, the crew have to row because obviously the river is flowing out towards sea, so they're rowing basically up the river. So yeah, they have to row. So the majority of the crew are rowing at the moment.
What is the weather like?
It's quite a warm moonlit night. There's a few wispy clouds around, but it's not overcast by any stretch of imagination.
In which case, I'm going to take my loot, and I'm going to go on to the deck. I'm going to find a nice vantage point to view the land that we're traveling through. I'm rather intrigued by. I want to see as much of this realm as I can, and the idea of seeing this place sort of lit by moonlight and starlight intrigues me. So I'm just going to go out, and I'm not going to play a song so much as sort of tuning lute and probably annoying the hell out the sailors while I'm doing so.
Yeah, and the river is quite broad, and it does look very silver in the moonlight. The land on our side is quite dark. You pass a few patches of trees and a few houses, but they get fewer and fewer as the night goes on.
I'm going to position myself on the deck, probably in the mast somewhere, leaning up against the main or central spur, or whatever they call it. I don't know.
Yeah, they do have a mast just in case there is some wind. They can unfurl a sail and get some extra speed or give the crew a break.
Well, basically, I'm going to just be sitting there watching everything. I have a tendency to case everywhere I go. What sort of movements, look for ways out. I just can't help myself. It's just the natural instinct I have to just look for every possibility in every situation.
This is quite a particular river barge you're on. It's not like a commercial barge. It's not like one of the traditional narrow boats. It's quite wide. The deck is quite flat. There is a couple of wells either side for the rowers to get them a bit lower to the water. There's a raised area at the front and the back of the ship, and like I say, a central mast as well. It's all the rowers aren't slaves. They are professional river people. So they are. It's not a galley as such, although it works in that sort of fashion. but I say it's quite a broad, probably you think quite shallow boat. That's why there's very little room below decks for cabins and such. So, after a while, you all drift off to your various cabins. And the morning finds you cruising quite quietly through lush farmland, again in a very gentle sunlit day. The food is served. It's fairly basic for breakfast. It's some sort of like some oats or a mash type of thing, almost like a porridge. There's plenty of it, but it's pretty tasteless and bland. You don't think the Lady Cressida is eating this sort of food. She's obviously handmaidens are cooking her something special. And from the back of the ship, you do get the smells. There's some really quite nice smells as they prepare her breakfast for her.
Yeah, I'd be up quite early.
Such
Quite early?
a sweet aroma.
Are you doing anything particular with your early morning?
I would probably get some fresh air on the deck, get out my long sword, start sharpening it.
Okay, so everyone on the ship can hear this rasp of the whetstone on the longsword as Rorik sharpens it, and some of it might wake a couple of you up actually, because it's quite a sound. So it's quite different to anything else the river has to offer in the way of sounds. But eventually you all sort of gather on deck and you all have something to eat, maybe a bit of bread or this porridge that's on offer. And it's quite a lazy morning, travelling up the river. The sailors obviously experienced at rowing. They are doing quite well. They've been rowing for hours now and seem to be not looking like they're going to give up the ghost anytime soon. Mid-morning, Lady Cressida appears with her handmaidens, and she goes to the back of the ship, the raised area at the back of the ship, and sets up a seat is set up and a raised covered canopy to shield her from the sun. And she sits there almost like in court on the ship, looking out over the main deck out towards the bow of the boat. And she signals for the bard to come forward, and she asks for some music. She says something light and something really light and musical for this such a lovely morning. Something to make the birds sing. She says.
Very well. I think I know the very tune that will aid us in this beautiful morn. I put away the lute and get the wooden flute out, and I start to play a nice soothing ditty.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that starts, there's a loud bang from below deck as a rather startled tabaxi is jolted awake in fright and hits her head on the bottom of the bed that she'd ended up under to avoid the sound of the sword.
Yes. So, and also Rorik, you noticed that the flute playing isn't quite to the taste of the actual crew either.
Yeah, do I gauge they want something maybe a bit more
Hornpiping?
Yeah, a bit more, maybe a bit more rhythmic to help them in their role.
Yeah, more rhythmic.
A bit more guts to it as well.
Okay, in that case, I'll probably be sitting on a barrel, so maybe a bit like a cajon. I kind of try and tap a rhythm along, because my clown would at least be able to, hit things rhythmically a little bit. He's not always in, perfect rhythm, but he tries to get them to row better.
I hearing the rhythm, I can't help but subtly change the tempo and notes I don't make it a sort of sudden left turn. It's a subtle increase in tempo and the arrangement of notes, so it begins to sound a bit more like a sort of standard hornpipe.
Okay.
A little bit of a musical shanty.
Yeah, so Rorik is strangely quite able to steer the bard's music in the direction he sort of prefers. Just what this tapping, this rhythmic tapping, and it sort of like changes the music slightly. What's Phelan doing at this time? Are you up and about?
So I'm on mute. Yeah, I'll be up. I'll be probably up quite early. Again, I'll be just watching as people get around and do stuff.
There's not a lot for you to do at the moment. You are just meant to be there as guards for the lady.
But, well, I'm a people watcher, so I'm happy to stand and watch.
Yeah, I mean, all the actual shipboard tasks are being taken care of quite adequately. The captain strolls up and down the deck and pointing at things and issuing a few orders, but it is a very peaceful morning. Has the cat come onto the deck soon?
Well, quite possibly at this moment. It depends. Would I have had enough sleep to have changed one of my spells?
You'd have had enough sleep, as much sleep as you wanted, actually, depending on when you went to sleep. You could have had, let me see, so say you could have had 8-9 hours quite easily.
Okay, that's enough to essentially change the spell. Long rest, in essence, isn't it? So, let me just swap that over. And then, yeah, after being startled awake by this blasted flute playing, whatever's going on around in the minute, I figure I can't really sleep at the moment because the monkey creatures are making too much noise. So I'm gonna take a bit of a stroll and see if I can establish some territory on deck.
Okay, so establishing territory.
Yeah, big scratching posts.
Yeah.
That's the point, actually. These masts are quite, the right kind of shape for a bit of scratching.
You've got the hemp rope as well. You can wrap around it, and actually has it as a scratching.
So there's so you come up the deck, and everyone's there, and lady bow and nods and says, "Thank you very much. That music was very pleasant." He says, "But I believe we have some business to deal with," and she indicates to your group that she wants to talk to you. So you all move a little bit closer. And she says, as I indicated, she says, "I'm currently not in a position to make the reward that I had originally intended to you. That must wait now until we reach Huthwaite. However, I will, in part, perform a reading for you as in part payment of this, or a down payment on what's your reward to come. I am known as a bit of a seer of my house," she says. Please come forward and let me read your futures."
I'm going to kind of roll my eyes at this.
Sorry?
I'm going to kind of roll my eyes at this and not move. Stay where I am. I'm not a great believer in all of this.
The idea of reading makes Rorik feel really uncomfortable, and you can see him visibly like stiffen up and sort of take an inhale.
Oh, right. Okay. So
Don't mind.
is anyone taking her up on this offer?
Oh, I don't believe I'll just journey into the unknown, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very passion of life. I go to Lady Cressida and say, if one must be read, allow me to be first.
He said, please take a seat, and a cushion is put in front of her for you to sit on. And she indicates to one of her handmaidens, and they bring out the box you all noticed from last night, the box with the eye in. And the handmaiden opens the lid, but the lid is towards you, so you can't see what's in the box. She puts her hand into the box, and out to sorry, Ronnie, Harari, sorry, out to his forehead, and she closes her eyes, and she mumbles a few words, and she says, "Your musical gifts lift sadness from the most afflicted heart, but even though you try to escape your past, it entangles your future like ivy. Beware that it does not choke you."
Your words are wise, my lady. I will try and ensure that I live up to your command.
I'll peer over to whoever's nearest and say maybe she has got a gift.
I turn to Valen actually at that point and say, have you ever had a reading before? How true is it?
Yeah, all fine. I'm saying.
I don't understand. Where's the book?
It's fortune telling. She will see into the future.
Wait, there's no money? What do you mean fortune telling? This makes no sense.
Why don't you go next, Cat? And I kind of gesture the cat
I-
forward.
It's
So
a
I'm
nice
kind of sort of shoved forward a bit, and I kind of
She says,
Yeah,
please come.
then again, I bet the cat's future's easy. Lots of sleeping, a bit of scratching, followed by
Okay.
lots of sleeping.
So she does the same. She puts her hands into the box and holds her hand out. And she says, "You have travelled far and in sadness, but you have achieved much. But your future holds more. You will be offered great power, but will have to choose between that power and your heart's desire."
I didn't understand anything you just said.
"That's okay," she says. "You will, child."
I stand back up. I'm sort of not sure if I should walk away or not. This very awkward body language.
And she looks
Kind of
at
look to the others for a clue as to what to do.
I sort of motion her.
Oh,
she looks at Ulrich and Valen and she says, "Would one of you care to take up my offer?"
I look at Valen.
I tend to follow my own fate.
"As you wish," she says. "But Rorik, you're of a strong and honourable house. Would you care to know what the future holds for you?"
So there is sort of visible sweat now at this point, and he just kind of just huffs like that. All right then, I'll have my fortune read to me.
And again, she puts her hand into the box and holds her hand up to your forehead. And she seems to frown a little bit. And she says, "I see throngs of people, thousands, tens of thousands, reaching out, calling your name." And she slaps her arm back in a bit of shock.
I go, I beg your pardon, but I think your eyes deceive you. There's just the crew and us.
"In the future, dear girl."
I don't get this at all.
I kind of wait with a lot of sort of I'm still very tense. I'm still kind of waiting as if she's going to say but something. But if she doesn't, then again a little bit awkwardly I get up, do a little bow, thank you. step away to the comfort of my crate.
And she's sort of like, if you move it back, she's sort of like, she's got her hand to her breast, and she's talking like this to one of her handmaidens. She's shaking her head.
Can I try and gauge why?
Because of the reading she's just given you. There was something.
Well, yeah, I know, but can I work out why she's behaving that way?
Possibly not without asking.
Are you okay? Do you need some water?
She says, "Some water. That would be good. Thank you." It's just a little bit of a shock when you see something that powerful.
At that point, I use the perfect excuse to go off and get some water. I'm not in this direct scene, but I do come back obviously with a sort of like a vase of water, a jug of water.
Oh, I get it.
Get what, Cat?
There's like a future plane, like the ethereal plane.
I suppose.
She takes the water and she drinks, and she says, "I must rest for a time. This has been quite stressful." And she leans on one of her maids and is led down to her cabin, and she disappears for the rest of the morning.
Actually, that's a good idea. I've been up for an hour already.
So the morning, the rest of the day, the morning up to lunchtime sort of carries on very similar. The guys are rowing away. Going towards midday, they start rowing towards the southern bank, and they sort of come to a halt, and the anchors are dropped, and the rowers take a break and have some food. And food is passed out to all of you. And again, you can smell some really nice smells coming from the Lady Cressida's cabin.
As ever, I'll take when I get food, I eat it in private somewhere, even if it's not my cabin. I'll find it if it's empty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the rowers are up stretching their legs on the main deck, so maybe down in one of the rowing well to be quite quiet at the moment, or like say somewhere in a small hold, you might be able to sit on a crate and eat your food quietly.
That aroma, what memories it stirs. I could compose a song with memories as a theme. Not sure what to call it though.
So after lunch, the anchors are raised, and again they take their places rowing, and they are rowing still quite strongly. So these are quite skilled people at this. What you see around is now the odd farm. Most of the main farmlands have dropped away, and it's quite like open plains with the odd dotted farm passing on either bank. But towards the end of the day, the captain says, he comes to you and says, we'll be stopping for the night soon. He says, do you think it'll be safer to anchor on the southern or the northern bank?
Who's he come to?
Just people in general, just asking in general. He's a bit unsure. He's seeing you there as the protectors of the lady.
As I've been kind of watching everything, have I noticed anything odd at either side?
No, not at the moment, no.
The region in general, is there anything specific on the southern or northern bank that would be, any knowledge of hostiles in the area, bandit country, that sort of thing?
No, you haven't left the same country, so it's completely safe. But they just want to know what to do in the situation to keep the lady safe.
I suppose choose the bank that's easiest to climb.
Yes.
Okay, southern side it is, he says. So they move to the southern side of the stream and they anchor. Just before nightfall, you hear shouts and splashes coming from upriver, and 3 boats come into view. They appear to be similar sort of boats to the one you're in, but they're traveling much faster. And they're heading west downriver. On the deck, you can see troops. They're obviously reinforcements for Radcliffe City Watch. And a shout goes out from a crewman, and people start crowding the gunnels to watch these ships pass. And as they come towards you, they seem to slow a bit. And the Lady Cressida comes out onto the deck, and she watches the first boat pass, and then she watches the second boat pass, and then she speaks quietly to I can't pronounce your name, Ronnie.
Hadarai.
Hadarai. I'm gonna have to write that down. I have written it down, but the way you say it.
Just straight up Hadarai.
She says, "Quick, the third boat." She says, "Call it over. Stop it."
You there? Yes, you. Yeah, boat. Yes, you. Yes, slow down, please.
What?
Thank you.
A shout comes from the boat. Who is that?
Just slow yourself down. Thank you.
You see the oars come out the water, and the boat starts to slow. It starts to slew to one side as it starts.
Good, lovely. Thank you. It has slowed down, my lady.
She leans over. She leans to on the gunwale, and she shouts across, "Hello! Do you have a Sir Boar aboard?" And the guy says, "I don't know. I'll find out." And he turns around. "Is anyone here called Boar?"
So Bayor.
Bayor.
Or
Sorry. Bayor.
That's why no one can find him.
That's a no good point.
comes striding forward.
Lady Cressida's looking for the wrong guy.
Yes, she is. She is. Is he aboard? She says.
Yeah, he will stride forward.
She says. She whispers to Hadarai. We need him aboard the ship as soon as possible.
I will do what I can, my lady. I will say that my nautical knowledge is not at its best. However, I'm sure the sailors here can create some sort of gangplank between the two ships to allow them to cross.
I don't
Think
care.
of it like a boarding action, but friendly.
Just get him over here, she says, and she turns around and walks away.
Yes, my lady. Yes. Could you bring the ship closer, please? You know, a boarding sort of thing, so this nice Bayor can come across. It seems he's rather important.
Get the gangplank ready.
So yes, you can come close enough to the gangplank to down between the two gunnels, and you can cross over, or carefully, but you can cross over.
Yeah, he will call back over his shoulder. Gerard, get your stuff. We're shifting. We're moving barges. Apparently, we are needed elsewhere.
And as you board, the captain in charge of this barge comes up. He says, "Well, who are you then? And where am I meant to be putting you?"
My name is Sir Bayor. I will sleep. He looks around the deck there. Points to one side. And whose is this barge, sir?
This is the Lady Cressida's barge. We're travelling to Huthwaite as quickly as possible.
Sir Bayard takes a different attitude at that. Loses most of his gruffness. Ah, the lady, Cressida.
She wants to see you in her cabin as soon as possible.
Gerard, stow the stuff over there. I will follow this. It's fine, Captain.
Yeah, he takes you over and knocks on the door. And you hear an enter from inside, and the captain pushes the door open and allows you in and shuts the door after you.
Bow deeply. Lady.
I said, Sir Beor, I'm thankful you were on the boats. We are in great need of your services. We need to get the eye to the capital, and we have been under attack ever since it came into our possession. We have fortunately found an unlikely-looking band of people that have protected us this far, but I think we're going to need your expert abilities, your very specialist abilities in protecting ourselves and the eye to the capital.
Lady.
I would like you to take personal charge of my safety on the ship.
Very well. I am humbled, madam.
Thank you for your assistance, she says.
I'll take that as being my leave and bow my way out.
Okay. So you come back out on deck, and who's actually on deck then to meet Sir Beor?
Yeah, I'd definitely be on deck. I would have probably attempted to actually passively listen at the door, so sort of sit nearby.
Okay.
Because I'm a little bit insulted by this flashy soldier coming on and suddenly being the center of attention, and being in charge of her safety.
Yes, well, you could have heard. It wasn't like a quiet conversation. It was done at normal volume, so it's only quite a reasonably thin wooden door, so you could have heard what passed between them quite easily.
So when you come out, I'm sort of sitting there. I'm probably fiddling with something, maybe my hand axe, and say, "So where do you hail from, Sir Boar?"
Sir Bayard.
Bayor.
I'm from a town to the south. Boston by name.
Yeah, very southern name. Quite hard to say. Although Imperial is my second language.
You are one of the group the lady has employed.
My name is Rorik of the Craghearth clan.
I'm pleased to meet you.
I just kind of give a little grunt at that. I don't bother bowing or anything like that. Are you dressed in quite fine armor at this point?
Not fine. It's serviceable.
Serviceable. Okay. Yeah. In that case, I'm not too insulted.
No, he's tall, slightly over 6 foot. Bulky. He's wearing a chain at the moment, and there's an emblem of a silver fist upon the shield.
Yeah, you notice about Rorik that you think he might be related to dwarves at least, but he looks like just a short human, basically, with large hands. He's also got the Craghearth shield, which is a flame with a mountain.
Okay, so Hadaroi, you might be aware of Sir Bayor's standing. You might have heard of each other actually, because you're both known within the royal courts. You have been singing for the lady for quite a while now, and she tends to like your performances. And you know Sir Bayor as a paladin, and the last of his clan, his house.
Ah. Sir Bayor.
I turn at the voice. Ah, Hadaroi.
It's good to see you once more.
Looking up and down.
Well, given the finery I am wearing, I'm looking as good as I can. But yes, I'm looking decently fine, I think.
I have acquired a squire since we last met. Gerard.
Oh. Well, hello, Gerard.
A typical squire, around 16, 17, just starting out in his squire duties.
He's a bit nervous, so he just nods at you. No, sir.
I do so love making good sport of squires. Do you think he has? Do you think he has the right stuff to make it?
That will be seen.
Meanwhile, while you're talking, the sailors are manhandling the big brazier out onto deck. And it looks like the evening meal is going to be slightly more substantial than the other two meals of the day. So they start bringing out some meat they're going to cook over this big brazier.
Ah.
Oh, that's more like it.
I'm going to appear next to Rorik, and I noticed Rorik speaking to our new guest. And I'll sort of I'll stand next to her and say, who's the walking target?
At the same time, we'll see how he fares in the field. He's a lot of talk so far.
Very shiny.
Yeah, shiny. Hey, do you think that that squire likes wine? He seems a bit nervous.
I think every squire needs some wine in his life, especially if he has to help carry around the big target's gear.
Have any of you brought wine with you?
I would have probably got a small bottle of something from the tavern we were staying at for the journey.
That's probably the only wine you're going to get. The sailors bring out a cask, and there's a lot of like a mead being drunk, being served up. But it's not long before the smell of roast meat just wafts across the boat, and you know this being chopped up and served in these square wooden plates. And it's really sort of like almost as much as you feel like you want to eat. And there's a few like root vegetables also. They'll boil up and serve with it.
A 12-year-old Northern mead, if I'm not mistaken, a rather fine vintage.
Yes, it is quite a decent mead. Obviously, the captain takes his business seriously. He keeps his men happy, so they're willing to row for him.
I would just be eating the vegetables. I won't touch the meat.
That's okay. I'll just be eating the meat. I won't touch the vegetables.
The captain on my share.
Cool. That's a good division. That's a good division of food right there.
We'll swap.
I'll probably eat half the vegetables.
Okay. Do you eat cooked meat, Cat, or
Yeah, just only meat though.
only meat? Okay.
Cat carnivore.
Yeah,
I
I
will-
mean,
I-
if you don't hold your plate out for vegetables, you don't get any. So you can have as much meat. If you go,
I think I'll come to an arrangement with Balin to get the full meal, and then we swap half.
Yeah.
And then I disappear down underneath the deck somewhere to actually eat it.
okay, as you go down under the deck to eat it, you see one of the handmaidens, and she's holding herself up on the wall. She's braced against the wall, holding her stomach, and she's making some very strange guttural noises.
My lady, I'm trying to get past.
And she falls to her knees.
No need to bow, but now you're blocking more of the corridor.
And again, she pivots and poof, falls down onto her back.
Oh, I see. I have nowhere to put my food. I turn around and walk back up to deck, and are there any healers on the boat? I'm not very good at that myself.
Why? What's going on?
One of the ladies appears to have been sick. I happened to me once on the sea.
I know the feeling. But I go down. Just think it's seasickness, so I'm gonna, I don't know, just try and waft air at her or something.
You can see by the time you get there, you can see that she's on her back. Her face has gone quite a dark red, and there's a foam building up on her lips.
I'll climb up the bank, and so I eat on shore.
Oh, that doesn't look like seasickness. I have a herbalism kit, but no potions.
Very shortly after this, she starts to shake.
Would I have anything like a chewable leaf or something that I could give her, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
I'm kind of improvising at this point, so I sort of open it hastily, try and think, oh god, what's going to help with her?
She's fairly unresponsive. Let's say you can wipe away her mouth, and her jaw is fairly clenched. You can't actually part her teeth to get the leaf in.
Okay. I know you've been asked this a million times, Ronnie, but what's your character's name again?
It's not just
Hadarai. It's Hadarai, isn't it? Okay. I will say a really bastardized version of Hadarai, given I don't speak Elvish very well. I sort of shout up, Haraduranginin.
Yes, you were getting there. You started well. We're holding well in the middle, and the less said about the end, the better. But yes, I am here.
One of the sailors pokes his head over and says, "What?"
Do you have any? Can you heal people with your flute or your stringy thing?
That's a chapel I've heard one. I can heal you with my flute.
Unfortunately, not. It is not one of the. It's not one of the focuses of mystical. Mystical music that I have been interested in thus far.
I put my hand out basically to just stop you talking and say, right, okay, just crew, do you have any kind of healing serum, smelling salts, anything?
Salt water all around.
And the crew they just sort of walk around, look around with chunks of meat in their mouth.
What is wrong, Rorik? What is wrong? Are you ill?
No, I'm not, but look at her. That's not seasickness. She's frothing and funny colour.
Is she on deck, or is she? I got the impression she was below deck.
She's just below deck. She's in like a gangway to go under the deck into the cargo.
Okay. When the location is pointed out, I shall approach, study her. Get my hand on my knees, see if I can do anything.
Okay, what do you want to do?
I'm just having a look through. Lay on hands, apparently. I think that was a separate ability. I can spend 5 points, and I'm trying to find it now. Don't know whether it heals poison and or disease. Or just let me have a quick look.
Okay.
This is the first time I've played a paladin.
None of the crew seem to have any sort of medical knowledge amongst them. They're only used to dealing with, cuts and that sort of thing.
If anybody had anything serious wrong with them, they'd throw them overboard.
That's right.
How long have you
Neutralize poison effects.
Neutralize poison. Okay.
For the cost of 5 of my 15 point pool. So I shall assess the situation. It certainly looks like she's eaten something that's disagreed with her. So I shall see if I can help hold my hands, like one above the chest and one on the stomach, and say a few words.
Okay. So she stops shaking, and her jaw relaxes, but she's still unconscious.
That's it. Nearly there. Nearly there. Okay, so I'm guessing then she was at death's door, so she needs actual hit points. So, yep, she's an innocent, so I shall assist her. If she proves to be taking it, then it's over the side with her.
The cold water is going to shock her awake.
Okay. Since she's like an NPC, is there a minimum number of HP I need to give her to bring her back around? 1 or 2?
How experienced a healer are you?
I've known how to do this since the day I joined the order.
Okay.
Which was
you think
when I was a squire. Yeah.
She's had a very strong poison. You believe that even though you've stabilized her, there's not a real way you can bring her round at this point.
Right, she needs bed rest.
Towel.
She needs taken to her quarters. Wow. No one leaps forward. I shall scoop her up in my arms and trying to avoid clunking her head against the door jamb. I shall lead her out. Where are her quarters?
Her quarters are sort of next to Lady Cressida's, and she's sharing with the other 2 handmaidens and the cat, supposedly. Whether the cat actually sleeps there or not, I don't know.
They sleep everywhere, but usually in that room, provided there's some sunlight coming in.
I would actually follow if the handmaidens are in the room, or I would go and find the other handmaidens.
The handmaidens are actually beginning to serve Cressida her evening meal. She dines alone most of the time.
Okay, I think my character's wise enough to put a stop to that. My lady, cease, please. I think something may be.
What is wrong?
There may be something ill. This woman has been poisoned.
No.
It could be a further attack upon your person.
Who would have poisoned her?
Your enemies. Or perhaps. I don't know. That is what we shall find out.
What has she eaten or drunk?
As far as I know, she hasn't eaten anything or drunk anything. They were busy getting me my meal, and they would eat after me.
Check her, lay her body out on the nearest bed or whatever they have. Check her out, see if there's any puncture wounds on her person, as if she'd been.
There's no puncture wounds you can see, no.
So I would imagine it's definitely an oral poison.
And the rest of us who've eaten something, we've not.
You're
felt
fine.
anything.
You're fine. But she's not eating the same food as you.
True.
She says, "Well, what? Who could have done it? You must search the ship."
Yes, my lady. I get out my sword. I probably head to the stern of the ship.
On deck or below deck?
On deck for now.
Okay.
Mainly to see if anyone's, taking their leave. So on another boat somewhere.
Okay. You can't see anyone else on the river.
Has anyone left the boat?
Yes, me. I share a room with her. It doesn't look good. I also discovered her.
That poor handmaiden. She just got too close to the catnip.
Yeah, give me the catnip. Yes.
I'm currently on the banks eating my food.
Completely oblivious to
Out of sight.
I'm still on deck. Went back to sort of serenading the crew with a few well-turned ditties.
Rorik's come out from the cabin, rushed up onto the should look these things up, onto the back deck of the ship, searching over the side, and then what? Rush along the deck, Rorik, to the front and do the same.
Maybe sort of go a bit slower, put my sword away, not to be rushing around so much. But yeah, I'll probably stride back along the side, check, especially the widest point of the river.
From what you can see on deck, as far as you can tell, it looks like everybody's there enjoying the evening meal.
You look somewhat perturbed, sir. Anything the matter?
What do you think? If someone's been poisoned, that means that wasn't the only one that they were looking for.
Poisoned, you say?
Well, yes, didn't you see?
I saw her collapsed on the floor. That doesn't necessarily...
Sir Bael seems to think so. I wouldn't have believed it myself so much unless he put his hands on her, said some sort of prayer I've not heard of, and suddenly she was certainly better.
Ah, yes. One of the advantages of his order. May I be of assistance?
Well, the lady has ordered us to search the ship. Do you fancy helping?
I'm at your disposal.
What is Sir Bayor doing at the moment?
Trying to find his mute button.
He's trying to find his mute button.
He finds his mute button.
He was clearly he was offering a silent prayer.
Yeah. Vow of silence. Intermittent vow of silence. My lady, I suggest you remain in your cabin. Bolt the door behind me.
Certainly I will.
I will search below decks.
And as you go to leave, one of her ladies follows you to the door and locks the door behind you.
Could I have watched the other ladies waiting? See if I picked up any tells of them.
Okay. Yes, you certainly can.
They didn't seem overly concerned while I was there, unless that was just I missed that.
Okay, if you could do like insight perception type of roll for me.
I got a 13.
13. Okay, you just see if one of the ladies was more shocked than the other one. One didn't seem quite as bothered. Whether you think that's because they didn't get on or you don't know.
Oh, just a moment, I'll bar the door before she closes it. You two ladies, you can help in the search.
But what if my lady wants something?
You can help in the search.
And she looks back at Cressida and she nods, and they both leave the cabin with you.
I'll bow and leave.
Okay. So what task are you going to put these two to?
Go above decks and help the others.
Okay, they both go up onto the deck. Yes.
And don't run away.
Run away, she says. One of them says there's nowhere to go.
Good. I'll go to searching below decks. Gerard!
Hopefully he's not too drunk at this point.
Yeah, call for Gerard. He's going to help me downstairs.
What do you want, sir? What do you want?
Stop questioning. Get here now.
And you'll rush over.
Right, come on. We're looking for clues.
What clues to what? He says.
To a poisoning. Keep up with things, man.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir.
Shake my head.
Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding.
So, what does everybody want to do?
Well, once I've finished eating, I'll leave and get back on the boat. Find somewhere nice and warm.
You can bring your plate back, or just going to leave it where you are. And
I bring it back, but I put it down the moment I get on board. I don't return it to anywhere.
Okay.
And then just find somewhere nice and warm and sit for a bit. Might even close my eyes.
Okay, so you can go near the brazier. It's nice and warm. The fire still is glowing away. That's quite nice.
Curl up.
Yeah, you can probably find a nice pile of ropes to curl up on or something like that.
I don't need comfortable places to sleep.
Well, somewhere out of the way you don't get stepped on with people milling around anyway.
Yeah.
You go back to sleep.
I'm just going to watch people moving about on the deck while I sort of keep half an eye open.
Okay. I mean, you might notice that some people seem to be searching, looking for something. Exactly.
Yes, I've noticed that about these creatures. Sometimes they put things down and lose track of them.
So, what sort of search are you doing? How are you organising it, and what are you looking for?
I'd probably skim the rest of the upper decks. Maybe take a look up in the masts as well, if anyone's hiding up there.
Okay, is Valen up there still, or because you tend to go up in the rigging whenever you get a chance?
Well, I came down for some food.
Yeah.
I'm kind of now sitting there, kind of watching everybody sort of run around, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, has anybody asked the handmaid if she ate anything that the other handmaids haven't eaten? Because I'm assuming they all share the same meal. Otherwise, because then why hasn't the others become poisoned? I'm a bit confused that everybody's suddenly running around without finding this information out, because that would be the obvious question. But I'm going to let them get on with it. It's kind of entertaining to watch them all running around. They're not going to find anything I can't help them with. I mean, I don't think I've noticed anything since I've been kind of sitting in the mast watching everybody go here, and nobody's been acting suspiciously. That's made me kind of think that's a bit odd.
You notice Sir Baylor has brought the two maids out of Lady Cressida's cabin, and they are now sort of wandering around the ship together and talking occasionally and looking over the edge. And
so where's the one who was ill then? Is she still down in the hole?
I think Sir Baylor, did you bring her up? I think you brought her up, didn't you, into her cabin?
Is her cabin actually on deck then?
The doorway into the cabin will be on deck, yes.
Have they all got separate cabins of the handmaids, or do you all stay in the same cabin as Lady? What's her name?
No, the Lady Cressida's got her own cabin. The three handmaids are staying in the same cabin with Cat.
Right, and they all eat the same meal. Well, anyway, I'm going to go into her cabin and question her.
Cressida.
No, but the handmaid who was ill.
And she's unconscious.
Is she? All right. So basically, I'm a bit confused by the fact that why aren't the other handmaids ill? Why isn't this one? What makes her different? So I'm going to basically examine her body. Not everywhere, just on the points where I would poison someone with a dart or some kind of something. Because I don't think it's in the food. Otherwise, more people sick.
Well, I mean, the crew and you are eating different food from Lady Cressida.
Yeah, I realise that. But the handmaid would presumably eat the same food as the handmaids.
But the handmaids eat. They prepare the food for Cressida and then eat after her.
Exactly. So why is only one of them ill? Which is why I'm going to examine the body and see if I can find something on the body that would indicate a pinprick or some kind of something, because it doesn't make sense to me that only one of them is ill, really. I've got a bit of a poisonous ability. One of my proficiencies is poisonous kick. So I kind of know.
You know what you're looking for. Okay, well, you can have a search of the body. And you don't find any pinpricks or any bites or anything like that.
Can I have a look at the tongue or the lips to see if there's any way of determining what sort of poison was used?
You can't see anything on the lips because it's been foaming and then wiped away.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. It had gone through her mouth.
But yeah, she's foamed and that's been wiped away when Sophia was attending her. But you do notice a particular sickly sweet smell.
Right. And so we're foaming in the mouth from the sweetly sick smell and the retching and the gut pains and stuff. Does it indicate any kind of poison to me?
Yes, it does indicate a poison. But I mean, it could be one of several.
Okay. Right. I still think it's weird that only she was affected. I'll head on back up to the thing and to the deck, and I'll smell. Was she eating with us when they cooked the
No
pig and stuff? She was actually downstairs, and was she? Do they eat in their own room?
Yes, the handmaidens would. The Cressida eats in her room, but they would actually take her the food first. And then after they attended to her, then they go away and eat themselves.
Yeah, and so is there anything like crockery or plates or anything in the room to indicate what they were eating? Because I presume they were eating the same time as us, possibly.
No, they haven't eaten yet.
Right.
There's no crockery in the room.
Nothing whatsoever. She's the only one that's ill. That's weird. That's very strange.
Is it somebody specific who cooks the food, or is it just like one of the crew?
It's the three handmaidens to prepare Cressida's food. The three handmaidens do it.
Okay, and what kind of food was actually being served to Cressida? Because if it was something like a soup, for example,
all sorts of things. She has some like sweetmeats, some roast, guinea fowl with a gravy. She has like
Okay, gravy.
wine and different things like that. Ooh,
Basically, is there anything food-wise that could easily, if you're cooking, you could easily just have a little taste to make sure it tastes all right?
yeah, sure. I mean, you could do that. You could do it with the gravy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And is the food sort of still up on the table, or
It's
has it been
in
taken down?
Cressida's room, yes.
Okay, at that, I'm actually going to rush to her room, make sure she's okay.
She is in there, yes, because Sir Baylor has told her not to touch any food at the moment.
Okay, she's not touched anything. Okay. But is there some food still in there?
Yes, there is, yes. It's all still where they left it.
Okay, I'm going to knock on the door.
Yes, please enter.
My lady, I know that Sir Bayo asked you not to touch the food. Would you mind if we took it away just for a moment to examine it?
Well, if there's something wrong with it, then yes, please, by all means, take it away. Do you think there's possibly my food?
Possibly. I'm wondering if the handmaid who is quite ill, perhaps she was tasting the food while cooking to make sure it was suitable for you. But because she was the one who consumed it first, she fell sick.
She says, I did reprimand her recently, she says, for putting too much salt in my food, so perhaps she was tasting it to make sure it was okay.
So the salt could be the key.
We'll see, but in the meantime, I'm sure we can spare some of our own food for you if you get hungry, my lady.
Thank you, I am quite hungry. I could do with something, she said.
Fine, I will get the crew to bring some spare food up for you. So I take whatever food it is, soup or
So
something
yeah,
like that.
I say it's just basically roast meat and root vegetables you've got, but quite hard.
Oh yeah. So I take hers away. What I do is I actually take it to Valen and say, "This is probably poisoned as well."
Okay. We can have a quick exam and look at it. See if there's anything that-
Yes, as you scan over the food, you notice the same sort of sickly sweet smell that you've detected on the maid.
What is the food anyway? What is it actually that she's had? Is it?
She's got like a guinea fowl with like a sauce over it, like a gravy. There's some sweetmeats. There's some fruit. Different sorts of stuff like that.
But the actual smell is emanating from the main course, is it? From the,
Yes.
the sauce, possibly. Okay. Well, that's definitely poison then. Okay, yeah, this is the cause of this. You're probably right in the assessment that it was her tasting it. It caused her to be ill first.
The question is, if this food was made by the handmaids, which one of them put the poison in? Because unless the food was cooked first before they got hold of it.
And you can see that the handmaidens have just they both of them have actually stopped looking now, not really knowing what to do, and are just sort of like leaning on the side of the boat on the gunwale.
Okay.
How long have you both been in service? I'm curious. Because they're on deck, yeah?
Yeah.
So I'll just ask that question, having not previously sort of interjected.
Well, one says maybe a couple of years, and the other one says, 18 months, maybe a year and a half.
Tell me about your first days.
First days, but with the lady, just a whirl of like dresses and parties and
Your first day. What was the first thing she said to you?
The first thing she said, well, one is fairly tall, wearing a green dress. She says, well, the first thing she said to me was, well, we don't usually employ people with yours types of skill, but I would like to try and develop that into something extremely special.
And you were here first, right? So
Yes.
do you remember that?
Yes, I remember saying that. She says my lady always likes to do something unexpected and finds hidden talents in people. She always seems to know.
Is that why she hired you?
When she hired me, I was sent to her as I was already working in the palace, and I was sent to her to replace a handmaiden that had already gotten ill, she says.
And why, and I go back to the original one, why were you sent to her?
I'd applied to the royal household for a position, and after a couple of interviews, she said, I'd been turned away, and I was actually leaving the palace, and the lady saw how Doncaster was and started talking to me.
And tell me, do you have names, or are your dresses different colors?
Yes, the one in the green dress is called Belinda, and there's why not? And the other one is actually called Io.
Right. Belinda and Io. I slink down from whatever perch I was resting on at that moment, and
they sort of move back a bit from you as well, because you're quite tall compared to them.
not actually that big. I'm smaller than most humans.
Oh, I thought you were like a 6 foot.
No. I'm quite slight of build.
Oh, sorry.
Same size class as a human, but not particularly big. Yeah, I'll go to the Lady Cressiter's room, and I'll knock the door, and then if I'm allowed entry, I want to confirm their stories.
Yes, she says, please come in. And she's there just finishing off the meal that Rorik brought her.
I wanted to ask if these stories are true, because I just wanted to rule out that we'd been infiltrated by some kind of shape changer.
She says, no, those stories are both true, she says. Yes. I think it was actually my son's household that sent Belinda to me to replace a maid that had gotten ill. And Io, she looked so distraught when she was leaving the palace. I just talked to her. She had an aura about her. I just needed to confirm what I felt for my own good.
And you have just 2 handmaidens left, is that correct? Oh, plus the sick one.
With me currently, yes. Obviously, I have more back in the palace, but it's a small barge, so I only travelled with 3 this time.
Slumming it.
It might please you to know that it is likely one of your handmaidens is not a shape changer. And then I walk out.
Meanwhile, waiting for you to get back, I'd probably just kind of keep the handmaids up against a wall or a mast so they don't go anywhere, and I'd actually tell them to empty their pockets.
Okay. Io actually starts delving into her pockets and bags and stuff, and starts pulling stuff out and holding it up for inspection. Belinda is a little bit slower to do this.
Belinda, you know you want to, really. I mean, look, you are surrounded by these rather dedicated soldiers who, let's be honest, are brandishing some fairly vicious weaponry here. Now, you know that unless you open up your pockets and let us see their contents, you're going to find yourself on the end of one of those, and I really don't want to see that happen to you. So please, I'm asking you.
And
I'm begging you, in
she
fact.
pulls out a few things. She pulls out a few things and holds it out. And there is sort of like, just general bits and pieces in her hands.
I brush my beard and say, "Is that everything, Belinda?"
Come on, Belinda. You know you want to. Let's see those hidden places.
Yes, she says that. That's all.
Io, have we had everything from you?
Certainly, sir. Yes, yes.
Now, this is not a part of my job that I particularly enjoy. However, in order to absolutely ensure that you are being truthful to us, I will have to perform a pat down. That is, I will have to move my hands all over your bodies to ensure that there are no secret compartments with hidden objects. Now, do you acquiesce to my request, or
No, certainly not, says Belinda. Get your filthy hands off me.
they're not filthy? In fact, they're incredibly clean. I washed them immediately after I urinated after my meal.
I give her a stern look and say, "Better his hands than my hands."
Or you could have mine, I say from the background.
Shoo.
Yes,
And,
you
and,
could have hers instead.
and her eyes go a bit wide. And she reaches into inside her cloak and she pulls out a small green file.
Yeah, I reach for her wrist immediately to make sure she doesn't do anything.
Okay, and you can, as you hold her wrist, it's right up in front of your face, and it's like a file of it almost looks like a swirling green liquid. Actually seems to move by itself in the file.
Mm-hmm.
Does she look surprised to have it there?
Sorry?
Did she look surprised to find it there?
No. She looks terribly guilty at this point.
I'll take the
Yes.
file off her and look at it and see if it's what I think it is.
Who's this, Belinda or Isle?
Belinda, the one that's been in service for a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm going to sniff the vial and see if it's the same stuff.
Yes,
Belinda.
it's quite strong. That strong smell is knocks your head back when you do sniff it.
Okay.
Does the ship have any kind of hold or brig we could put her in?
There is a hold. There's no brig. It's a small hold. And it's pretty much crammed with clothes and Lady Cressida's belongings at the moment.
There'll be rope and chains, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to trust her with Krista's belongings.
And she tries to wriggle her wrist free from Ryek's grasp.
No, I keep it. I've got a strong hold. You're only making it worse for yourself. You've given us all quite a fright tonight.
Belinda. Now, you know that we're going to have to put you in a place where we can keep an eye on you.
She says, you just don't understand.
And
I think we do.
You're going to have plenty of time to tell us, but right now we're going to have to hold you against your will. See this mast on the boat, Phil? Does it have a crow's nest?
Not really, no. It's not a ship. It's only like a largest river barge.
Well, we got a mast.
You've got a mast.
Well, we can tie her to the mast.
Yeah,
Okay.
where we can see her.
You can tie to the mast, yes.
And we'll do it properly with hands behind her.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
I'll
gonna-
pull her over.
We're not giving her any fucking traction by
Nope.
having her arm forward.
Are you anyone going to question her, or are you going to tell Lady Cressida what you found out, or?
Well, I'm dying to hear what the explanation is, so I'm going to lie down on a bit of deck quite nearby.
Bayar comes back up from the hold, dusting his hands off. There's nothing down there.
Oh, you'd be amazed what's been up here.
And you see this young lady tying to a mast, and everyone's sort of gathering around looking at her.
Valen confirmed her to have poison.
Aha. Well,
She says, it's not what you all think.
Oh, this will be good.
Yes, I want to speak.
The Lady Cressida is plotting against the Emperor. She intends to kill him.
And you took it upon yourself to sort this all out.
And at that point, she goes silent.
Bit naive, isn't it?
She looks at the deck. She says, I can't tell you any more.
I suppose one of us should let the lady know. She has a traitor in her midst.
Should we, though? Because what if she's telling the truth?
She still gets hung.
Yeah. It's just she's got to have someone to hang with her.
I just think we're
Pretty
we're jumping too quickly here. If this is true, if the Lady Cressida is actually plotting against the Emperor, then that's quite important information, isn't it?
It is, but she still gets hung.
Attempted murder.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I mean that was a mistake by getting the girl. I don't see she didn't do that on purpose. She was attempting to kill. So who's employed her then? She didn't do this on her own.
She won't tell
No.
us.
She might.
I at that point go back to my cabin. I'm going to find my loot.
Oh, you're going to get your bagpipes out and make her talk.
I'm not too far off, actually. I am going to use, by use of musical instrument, I'm going to cast Charm Person on her.
Hey, I've been waiting for that all night.
Well, it was the one spell that was guaranteed I was going to take.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah, no brainer.
You know.
Does that work then?
Right, essentially, Charm Person, you attempt to charm a humanoid you can see within range, which I clearly can. It must make a wisdom saving throw and does so with advantage if you or your companions are fighting it. You're going to have to make a judgment call on that.
Okay.
If it fails the saving throw, it is charmed by you until the spell ends. The duration's 1 hour. Or until you or your companions do anything harmful to it. The charmed creature regards you as a friendly acquaintance. When the spell ends, the creature knows it was charmed by you. And unfortunately, it doesn't allow. It allows you to cast above the spell slot, but it's only number of people it charms. It's not a more powerful version, sadly.
Okay. Do you want a wisdom saving throw? Do you?
Yeah, you've got to decide for yourself whether.
It's a big D20.
Thanks for holding up the one there.
Oh, right. Okay. So what did you say? It was a 13.
Hmm?
You say 13?
It's whatever it's. I assume it's whatever it's.
No. Your spell save DC.
Yeah.
It is 14.
14. Ah, okay. She fell by a point.
Nonetheless, for me, this is a cantrip. So, well, a slightly weaker version. I have friends. I was going to do this while you were off getting your loot, but so I mark my mask with a small piece of chalk, and then I glare at her for a moment, and in her eyes, that appears to be a smile, and I'm friendly. For the duration, you have advantage on all charisma checks directed at one creature of your choice that isn't hostile towards you. When the spell ends, the creature realizes that you used magic to influence its mood and may become hostile towards you. A creature prone to violence might attack you. Another creature might seek retribution in other ways at the DM's discretion, depending on the nature of your interaction with it. So I'm going to cast Friends so that I've got advantage on all checks.
Okay.
If anyone can get you out of this, it is me. Why don't you tell me who you're working for? Because I can, of course, be discreet. But I need to know that we have the same people's interests at heart.
She says, "Oh, thank God you're here. I need help. I've been given this job. It's been a terrible secret to keep for 2 years, working for Cressida and reporting back to the royal household. And now they've asked me to do this."
Oh, I see. Thank you. I am sorry, but I did use magic to influence you there, although it turns out it wasn't necessary. You told me everything.
"Oh, you're going to help me. You're my friend."
I said that, yes. I then look to the rest of the party and say,
She goes,
approach, I'll approach the rest of the party, and the royals already know that Lady Cressida is attempting to kill them, at least according to her story. So if what she's saying is true, then we don't need to do anything else. The royals are already aware. So we can just execute justice in this case as is intended to be done, or should be done. We need not worry about her excuse.
I'm kind of wondering how much the Royals are offering.
"So, what is your next?"
Still, I wouldn't mind seeing some solid proof.
Yes, I
It's
am.
not. The royals already know, according to her story.
No, solid proof that she was definitely in league with them, reporting back to them, or if she's just covering her own back.
It matters not in terms of justice to her, or indeed our own actions. Where it might influence us is if we become associated with Lady Cressida and the target of an imperial hunt.
Well, isn't it typical?
I assume this is the kind of thing that I was warned about with human courts and intrigue.
"Do you want to take a quick break while you think about it?"
Yes.
Yeah, let's go with it. Yeah,
Okie dokie.
quick break.
See you.
Okay.
So, if anyone can hear this, first of all, hi, Stephen.
Okay.
Yes, my friend Stephen is watching, so I was just checking the live stream there to see if anyone was watching, and Steve is watching. So, hi, Steve. And I don't know. I think Fiona and or Maxine might be watching as well. In which case, hello.
Good evening.
Although they'll be watching just on the big TV, they won't be watching on their tablets or anything, probably. Will be this evening's television entertainment for them.
So it will be big screen.
Big screen.
That's frightening.
Big, large, living, and it's a 50-inch TV. Someone donated a 50-inch TV to them because they got their neighbor got another one, so
Wow, that's pretty good.
50-inch TV their way. So yeah, they got a nice. So we're coming through in 1080p, high def.
Big talking heads.
Big talking heads. Surround sound.
Seems a bit of overkill for us, really, just to watch us.
Oh, I don't know. We deserve a big stage. I hope my interpretation of a half-elven bard is going well. I decided that I've done a couple of really serious characters, and I thought I was going to go a little lighter, and play up the politeness and the gaiety.
Short character, have fun with it.
So yes, I'm enjoying him.
Good. That's the main thing.
I haven't quite decided whether he's camp or whether he's camp because he has a wider buffet range to choose from, or whether he's just very.
I did think you were going that way a little bit.
And Pair of Geeks has left the chat.
Oh no! And back again. Push the one button.
Welcome back.
That's it. Good girl. Hey, kitty. Come on, jump up. No camera? No. Yeah. Come on.
Okay. She doesn't want to be on camera.
Nah, she's always very shy.
All right.
Okay. So, what do you want to do? Did you want a quick chat about it? What do you want to do? Confer or?
I believe we should inform the Lady Cressida, dispense the justice she requires, and then I suspect this whole realm will break into civil war.
I agree on both counts.
Yes, although I think she does have to be informed. I don't think we have any way around that without looking like treasonous scum ourselves.
Well, we could always abandon ship.
Leg it.
Why? This seems interesting.
You seem interested to start civil war. I'd rather
I'm not here
not.
to start it. I'm just here to watch it happen.
So, who's going to do the informing then? Are you going to go and get her out, or confront her in the cabin? Or...
Oh,
I am happy to.
Anyone else besides the cat?
I could
I suppose I could do it.
I turn to the cat and say, I'm a little worried about how you will let her know.
I wasn't planning on sniffing her.
Maybe the leader of us all should do it. We want towards the target.
Oh, yes, I do rather think that maybe, Sabayor, that you carry a certain amount of weight.
more ways than one, sir. Yes.
That she
I shall. inform
she
the lady.
she might consider your word to carry more weight than that of a humble bard.
Okay, so you're going to go in.
Perhaps we should go together.
Oh, fantastic!
Okay, so Bator and Hadarai are going to go up to the cabin.
Yeah.
I'm definitely standing outside the door for this one if I'm not allowed in.
In that case, I'll keep guard of Belinda.
Okay, so you can see Io has sort of doesn't know where to be or what to do now. So she's in two minds. She's heard things she doesn't know how to deal with, and she's keeping out of the way. So Bayor and Hadarai go up to the cabin door and knock, I presume, and you hear, please come in from inside.
I shall open the door.
Are you going in, or are you talking from the doorway?
I'll be going.
You're going in. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Then go in.
So Bayor, Hadarai, what is the news?
We have found some information which may not be to your pleasing.
Has someone got aboard the ship?
Yes.
Oh,
Someone has got aboard the ship. It has been in your employ for a number of years, just waiting for this opportunity.
and she just looks at Hadarai as you're saying that.
He speaks the truth, my lady.
Who?
It would appear one of your handmaids was responsible for this attempt.
From beyond the door, I shout, Belinda!
We
No.
were getting there subtly.
She says, no, I cannot believe it. Surely that you lie. That cannot be true. Why would she do this?
She has been put up to it by others in the family. Or so she says.
She says, she sort of, the royal family has had periods in the past of infighting that has been quite vicious, she says, but I thought that was behind us now.
More importantly, however, is the reason that she is giving for her attempt on your person.
Well, money, I should assume, she says.
Well, according to your handmaid, she was attempting to prevent you from your own plans to murder the Emperor.
She pauses for a second and then turns away and she says, what do you know of plans?
I was ready to dismiss them up until your pause, my lady.
How much do you know of my plans, Hadarai?
I'm trying not to react to that last comment.
I would say that.
I know nothing of plans, my lady. I have considered you dutiful and honourable, and I am loath to believe that you are capable of such plans. But if such plans are indeed brewing, I would, as a humble functionary, ask why.
You would take the word of a deceived handmaiden, a young girl, over me.
No,
Never.
She
never.
breaks in, she says, I cannot tell you all, but there is schemes and plots abound in the imperial city and within the royal palace that you know nothing of, and it's not without more than a smattering of truth to say the empire is at stake, and every man, woman, and child in it. I'm going to need your help more than ever now. This has become more serious than I could ever believe. We need to protect the eye.
Very
That's what
well.
it's about. The eye.
I am going to, at this point, I bow. If I have offended you, my lady, with my coarse and crass questioning, I do apologize most sincerely. I will take my leave and leave you in the trusted hand of Sabale.
Certainly, Hadrai.
I'm going to head back to the deck.
And when Hadrai leaves, she says, Sir Beor, I know your honor, your loyalty belongs to the Empire, but and the Emperor indeed, but you have to believe me when I say this is bigger than the Emperor. This is not just the succession. This is just not the palace or the imperial city. This is the empire and everybody in it.
You have my sword, my lady.
Thank you, sir.
Incidentally, does this have anything to do with the massacre of my order?
Unfortunately, I believe it might. It's very complicated, but I'm trying to avert a disaster that will destroy us all.
Then then you have me, my lady.
Do you have any reason to distrust Io?
None whatsoever.
Then please, could you send her to me?
I shall. Bow my way out. Find Io.
And send her in. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she goes in.
Just give her a good looking at first of all.
A stern glare.
Yep, an intimidating glare.
While they're both out of the room, I'm gonna knock the door.
Yes. Who is it?
I was just curious as to what manner of execution is proper.
Execution for Belinda.
My second question was how many, but yes.
It is traditional to be a hanging or a case of some ladies beheading.
Now I'm confused. Is it a choice?
They do have the choice. Yes, a lady would have the choice.
Right. I'll see to it.
cheerily trots off.
Meanwhile,
I'm going to hanging. I'm going to.
I go down.
I might need veg.
When I get to the deck, I go immediately over to Belinda.
And she's
So-
still crying after this hideous betrayal from Kat.
How did she take it?
About as well as could be expected, given the preponderance of evidence. However, things, it would appear, slightly more complicated. You, Belinda,
Yes.
darling, do you have family?
Yes, sir.
Who?
A mother and a father and 3 sisters and a brother in the army.
Where do they reside?
In Huthwaite.
Well, that's helpful.
According to my lady, civil war is brewing.
Yes.
It threatens every citizen in this realm. I will make a deal with you right here, right now, and you have my word upon it. I'm afraid you have no option. They will kill you. You will be executed for treason.
But I've done
Probably this very night.
I've just done what I've been told.
And I believe possibly you were told falsely. However, I will offer you this deal, and I offer you it is a one-time only, because I believe that at least one person will be coming up those stairs momentarily to perform said execution. Tell me the names of the people who told you of my lady's apparent treachery, and I give you my word, I will ensure your family safe passage.
I can't name them. It would mean death for us all. I've been told. That's the one thing I cannot do.
Tell me. I guarantee you, I cannot save your life, but I will say now, I swear, on the honor of my family, I will see your family safe.
It would be a shame if your family were to find out that you betrayed them too.
I didn't betray them. I didn't betray them.
Then tell the kind bard what he needs to know.
And she's sort of really heavy. It's the Lord High Chancellor.
Oh, really? Directly from him, or did he use an intermediary? Did he use a messenger?
Directly from him, sir.
Very well.
And the sound of furious claws.
And the
push up
sounds of
stairs.
furious clicking. Very well.
And I pop up on deck. In my
I give you my word. If what you have told me is true, I will get your family safe.
But
You have my word.
But you must help me, sir. Please, please help me. I've done nothing wrong. Just let me go.
Here is the problem. Regardless of what I think, you have attempted to murder a person. You cannot murder people for crimes they have not committed. The natural law cannot withstand it.
But
you must be held to account.
I've been told that She has already attempted the life of the Emperor on more than one occasion. It was the only way to end it.
Is the Emperor still alive?
Yes, sir.
Then she is not guilty of murder. I am sorry, my dear. I do find you rather fetching, especially in these beautiful robes that you're currently wearing. It's a very nice Chanel number that you've got going on
Paradise,
here.
get on with it, please.
But surely the very thought of killing an emperor would be classified as treason. So isn't that a crime in its own? Or wouldn't that treason be basically solved by hanging?
Yes, it would.
So she has committed a crime if this is true.
If-
Now all we have is basically her word against so-called Lady Cressida, who, quite frankly, I've never liked since I met her.
Must be guilty.
At the end
Must
of
be
the day,
guilty.
I'm just saying that just because this girl's a peasant doesn't make her guilty either. You know, if this Lady Cressida has considered treason against the emperor or has attempted the murder of an emperor, that in itself is a hangable offence.
But it's a different crime.
Allow me to speak to the Lady Cressida. Hold your noose or blade until I return.
Oh, that's her choice. Which is it to be, by the way?
And she
Phil,
just-
I'm heading back to Lady Cressida.
She goes back to heavy sobbing and crying and sobbing.
I can choose for you if you like.
Okay, you go back to the cabin door. You knock, and your usher, the IO opens the door and lets you in.
My lady,
Hadarai, what can I do for you?
there is claim and counterclaim here. I would ask that any sentence be postponed until we can fully investigate. She may very well be an important witness.
There are many layered games going on here, Hadarai. When I read your future earlier, I told you that you could not escape your past, that it was going to entangle you like ivy. And in your past, what did your family want you to be?
I am very well aware my family were desperate for me to join, to be the next in line of diplomats. And here I am being a diplomat. Yes, I am very well aware of the irony.
You're entangled with it. Your future is going to be entwined with it. All of you now are caught up in this, and there is no way out. You are going to have to decide where your loyalties lie. I am trying to save everybody.
And it is my honest belief that that is the case.
But no, I can see sense in keeping the girl alive. You might find this hard to believe, but I don't even particularly bear her any ill will. She has been lied to. She may be a silly thing to believe it, but she has been lied to. She's been tricked and fooled. It is the people who has tricked her that deserves our justice.
Thank you, my lady. I bow regally as I leave, and sort of double time it back to the deck.
By the time you get there, I'm already putting a rope over the mast.
Yes. I get back to the deck and say, "Hold. Thank you. Yes. Lady Cressida has decided that not today. Not
Aren't you
today.
lucky?
Maybe
In my
not
clan,
tomorrow.
There is no postponing of death where it's warranted.
You hear the door creak behind you, and Lady Cressida's cabin door opens, and she walks out the deck, followed by her handmaiden. And she says, with all this that have gone on, I need to change our travel plans. Tomorrow we must visit a temple. I need some advice. I need to talk to the mother, and if we can travel upriver a little bit more, a little bit further, we'll be closer. We can leave and travel north to the temple. We should be back within the day to continue our journey. But before going back to the capital, I am going to need to consult at the temple. The way is unclear even for me at this time. So tomorrow, I want us to start early. And the captain nods and yes, certainly, my lady. Oh, we'll start at the crack of dawn. Does anyone else want to say anything to that or not?
Not going to respond to that at all.
No,
You need to. There is another action I'd like to take.
Go on then.
Which is to disappear on shore for about an hour.
Okay.
And I'm going to walk a little bit up the river. I'm going to take off all my clothes, and I'm going to wash them, and I'm going to get in the river, and I'm going to wash myself. Because it is driving me crazy not being able to take this off. And they're always around me, and they're never leaving me alone. And I have to hunt for a place just to eat food.
Yeah, you've got as much time for that as you want.
I think what I would do is I would send a letter to, I've forgotten what they're called, the Dominion of Silver, saying that I did survive.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am under the services of Lady Cressida for the moment, and will not be returning for some time.
Okay, yes, certainly. To do that, you probably either have to use a pigeon to send a bird either back to Radcliffe or up to Huthwaite, or perhaps tomorrow you could find a farmer you could pass it to and get him to pass the letter on. It might be a slower route, but there's 3 different routes you can go. Bird either way, or a letter.
I'd actually probably want to do it the slower way.
Okay.
Takes more time to get to them.
You could perhaps, even if you find an enterprising farm boy, you might be able to pass him a few silver to get us a fortune, and he could probably even hand deliver it for you.
Yep, sounds fine by me.
Okay, anybody else? Anyone else want to do anything, or?
Nope. I'm gonna take the evening to rest and.
Okay. So next, okay, you can rest this morning. Are you going to leave the girl tied to the mast all night? Is she going to be guarded?
I'll sleep at the base of the mast.
Okay.
Actually, I'll probably get up and wander around a bit on occasion.
I'll be in the mast like I normally am.
Okay. So
I'll be on deck too.
There's enough there. I'll sleep in the cabin, but I'll still get up and wander around a few times and then go back to sleep.
The cabin. There's more room in the cabin now. No one's checked on the poisoned handmaiden.
That was the next thing. Yeah.
Who was unfortunately choked on her own vomit after being laid on her back in the cabin for a few hours.
Damn it, Bo.
So there's plenty of room in the cabin now. So you've got your own bunk now.
All right, I drag the corpse out, then walk back in the door. I don't even throw it overboard or pillar, I just drag at the door.
Is that real?
So anyway, the next day, even before you're up, you hear the crew start busying themselves about the barge, and the barge starts moving way before it actually light breaks. The captain rows up the river for a short way, and Lady Cressida comes out on deck and says that he needs to go up up the river to a small a small place called Roundwater, and there he should anchor close to the north bank, and you will disembark there and travel to the temple. So it's only a couple more hours up the river before it comes into sight, and you pull over and you moor, and the gangplank is put down to the bank, and you can all disembark. There are some farms close by in the distance that you may be able to get horses or even carts from, if you wish to do so. Walking, it will take a bit longer, but if you can beg, borrow, or steal some, or even rent some horses from the farmers, then your trip will go a lot faster.
I'd like to give my squire a very important mission or duty. He's to remain with the barge, with the girl under his protection.
Okay. And the crew is staying on board as well, so there are quite a few people around. Cressida and Io is going to travel with you. And like I say, a quick search around the countryside will reveal a farmer who will hire a couple of horses and a cart, so the ladies can travel in the cart, and you have a horse each.
Okay.
You travel north from the river, and the farmland really starts to thin out now. It's you're not traveling very fast. The car is pretty rickety and old. It's not that comfortable, but it's a lot better than walking. There's no particular track you're following either. You're just going across grassland at the moment. Until you see some trees nestling between two hills, and Cressida directs you straight towards the trees. From where you're sitting, where you're riding, you can't actually see if it's a forest or what, but they seem quite dark, a dark line of trees at the moment. But as you reach them, you can see that it's almost just like a wall of trees between these two hills, and you can it's only a little, it's not very deep. You can pass through it quite quickly, and before you you see a white marble temple with a very strange low-hanging cloud sitting just above it. There's a low wall around the temple, and a broken arch leads into the courtyard. Inside the courtyard, you can see a few broken down buildings, but one building that seems to be in quite good repair. And Cressida orders you on to the main archway, main entrance. This is the temple, she says. We will find the mother here. I will consult with her, and we will make our way as quickly as possible back to the river. So as the cart pulls up outside the temple archway, she moves to the edge of the cart and waits to be helped down.
Not by me. I spent most of the journey trying different positions to see if I can sleep on a horse. Turns out
Very difficult to sleep on a horse.
I will offer my hand.
Thank you, Hadarai, she says as she steps down, and the maid sort of jumps down after her, and she strolls forward into the courtyard of the temple.
Follow closely.
Follow her closely. Okay. As you walk into the temple, you notice that the courtyard beyond the broken archway is covered in the rotting corpses of small animals. Birds, weasels, foxes, rabbits, just strewn everywhere. This doesn't seem to faze Cressida at all, and she heads directly to the temple building, to the doors.
This forest must have good eating.
My lady, at the risk of an impertinent question, is this normal?
And she looks about and she says, the mother believes in the old magic, and she believes this affords her some protection against the evils of the world.
I see. How interesting. Couple of new lyrics.
And she mounts the steps up to the wooden doors of the temple. They're quite plain old wooden doors. And she puts her hand on a door and turns and she says, I must consult with the mother alone. Will you please wait outside? And she pushes the door open.
I look to Valen to see what he's doing.
Follow.
I'm not entirely comfortable with that option, my lady.
She says, you might not be very pleased with what you hear inside, she says. It still might be better for you at this time not to know too much.
Yeah. You're not really winning me with this one.
How do the rest of you feel?
We're going to stand by the door.
You're going to stand by the door. She says, I really need to do this myself, she says.
You gave me instructions to protect you. I cannot do that if you are out of my sight, my lady.
She says, would it help if you searched the temple before I consulted the mother?
Yes.
Let's search the place.
She pushes the door open and she says, go ahead.
I draw my rapier.
Okay, so you go inside. The temple's really quite dark inside. It's lit by one small fire on the flagstones in the center of the temple. All the statues inside are broken, and the temple is just full of all sorts of just different bric-a-brac and broken furniture. And sitting next to the fire is an old lady in just looks like a pile of clothes. She says, search. See what you can see.
I sort of essentially from the door, I'm going to circle the sort of the outline of the room, sort of counterclockwise.
Mm-hmm. You can walk right around the room. You might have to avoid different bits of piles of crap on the way around, but you can walk all the way around. You don't find anyone else there apart from the lady that's in the center of the room.
Is she awake?
Sorry.
So which one say?
I was saying, is there a roof on this temple? There is a roof on this temple.
There is a roof on this temple, yeah.
Is there any way I can actually, because I want to basically find out what she's actually doing. So I want to be able to do that without her knowing I'm actually going to try doing that. And without anybody knowing, really, I'm going to just suddenly disappear into the shrub. And
okay, if you want to, can you roll me a stealth to get inside the temple?
yeah, I can do that. Seems if you help. I've got Master of the Wild as well as we're out in the open. So that leaves me in my stealth. Ooh, okay. My stealth is, what is my stealth? 8. So altogether, that is 19.
Okay, you can sneak into the temple while Cressida is watching Hadorai walk around the room. You sneak slightly in.
As previously stated, I was watching Balin to really see if he was going to do what he's done. So the moment I lose sight of him, I go, must be okay to do this then. And then I too will try to sneak into the temple and find a vantage point amongst some debris inside the room.
Okay, yeah. Would you like to roll me again?
20. Unnatural.
Oh, yes. So it's obviously, so Bior's guarding of the door is not going too well for him at the moment. He's more interested in protecting the lady. His eyes are on the room, following Hadorai around, watching the old lady. So he doesn't notice you two sneaking around the corner. But Hadorai, you walk around the room and you come back to the door.
Was she, the old lady in the middle, was she awake, asleep, dormant?
It's very hard for you to tell. You don't know. Unless you go up to her or talk to her. Or...
Yeah. See, there's a part of me that thinks that's a really smart move, and then there's a big part of me that says I don't want to change my underwear just at this point. I'm going to sort of do a slightly tighter circle, so I'm a little closer to her, so I can actually see, sort of move
Okay,
around
so
to the
to
front.
do a tighter circle, there's like statues. It's like almost like a square room. So there's statues that make a smaller square inside the room, broken down statues. So you can do a circuit within that smaller square if you wanted to.
Okay, yeah.
Again, you're working fairly close to her now, and you're quite easily within the firelight.
I stop as I'm sort of close enough so I can actually see her. You know.
Okay. Her hair is pretty unkempt. She does look quite old, but she does appear to be moving ever so slightly, just rocking just a little bit.
Yes, I'm going to head back out.
Okay, so you go back to the door, and she says, Hadorai, are you satisfied there's no one else in the room?
I don't think I'm not sure. And I sort of move away. It's she's if I may say so, my lady, she's a tad unnerving.
Okay, so she says, Sir Bior, will you please guard the entrance and don't let anyone else in?
Sure.
And she pushes the door shut. Okay, inside, she goes over and she sits down next to the old lady and whispers to her. She says, Mother, I have come for some guidance. And the old lady says, Daughter, I am here to help you. What is the problem? And she leans forward and starts to whisper. And you catch only glimpses of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You hear Cressida say, he's getting close. Then the next bit is inaudible, and then my life. And then the old lady asks a question. She says, he knows what it is? And Cressida answers, maybe. I do not know. And the old lady says, the emperor must die before the star falls. And the conversation continues in a very much that sort of vein for a while. Then Cressida stands and bows and says, thank you, mother. The way seems clear. And turns and walks back to the door. Meanwhile, what are you two doing outside?
No, I was hoping to be inside, hidden amongst debris.
Sorry, I was talking about. I was talking to Bayor and Hadorai and Rorik, actually.
That's what confused me.
Sorry, 3. Yes, sorry.
Indeed, Rorik so far to this point has been a little in a daydream. The 10,000 people standing in front of him cheering is getting into him a little bit. So he imagines, if say there's like a few steps, he sees him as really grand with all these people down below and cheering. And really, he only snapped out of it when the door closed. So he sort of thinks, okay, right, I'm guarding.
Okay. So the door opens and Cressida's there in the sunlight again. And she says, thank you for your understanding. I have the information that I need. I just need to visit one more site here. And she walks down the steps and turns left and walks through the temple compound.
2 paces behind her.
Yeah, you can follow her, and she's not worried about you following her. So the 2 people inside the temple, what do you want to do? Do you want to leave now, or is there something you want to do in there?
Yeah, I want to try and sneak out at some point.
Okay, yeah, you can sneak out. I mean, the old lady seems pretty much oblivious to everything, you think. Anything without she doesn't seem to pay much attention to anything outside the circle of fire.
Actually, I've got an idea. Give me a moment, come back to me.
Okay, so outside, you follow Cressida across the temple compound. She rounds a corner, and there is a partly collapsed wall with a huge carving in the stone. And on either side of the carving, there is like 2 sconces, maybe the size of a fist on either side. And she checks the carving, and she walks up to one of the sconces, and she puts her hands in it and rubs around in the sconce. And she sighs and says, okay, she says, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Is she looking fatigued or anything?
She's looking, when she did that, she saw the carving and touched the sconce. She looked relieved.
When they get back to the wagon and horses, I'll be there.
Okay, yeah, you've left the building. What did Kat want to do?
After a little while, I'm going to go up to this lady in the middle of the room. I sit down next to her and I say, Mrs. Cressida's mum, I have a question.
To which you hear, yes, sister. What do you want to know?
Well, I have this friend who has a friend who has something that my friend doesn't know what it is, and my friend's quite curious, and she wants to know if it would be okay for her to look at my friend's thing, even though my friend's friend hasn't actually shown it to my friend.
You wish permission?
Well, I think my friend's friend wants to keep it a secret, but my friend wants to know. Because my friend is admittedly quite curious.
Perhaps it would be best not to know, but if you wish knowledge, ask questions.
Oh, it's not for me, it's for a friend.
That's for your friend.
Right. Sorry, what was the answer? I wasn't listening.
Maybe it's best not to know, but if you seek knowledge, ask questions.
Hmm. Ooh. The door's shut. I just noticed. I best go and open it again.
As you get up and leave, you hear the lady go, "Sister,
Hmm.
I will see you again."
Are we related?
Not in this world.
Oh, are we related in the future plane? And I walk out. Future plane, isn't it?
Okay, so you can all be waiting back at the cart by the time everyone else arrives.
What was the carving of, by the way?
Hmm.
It looked like a big circle with intricate patterns all around it, and these two like fist-size, almost oval sconces on either side with like a direct decorative pattern around it.
All right, so it's patterns rather than some sort of effigy.
Even so, the fact that she experienced relief, if the others are starting to head back to the car, I wouldn't mind at least brushing my hand over whilst no one's looking.
Okay, yeah, what the same sconce as she did?
The same sconce, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like I say, you can see it's like an oval sconce. It's about maybe a couple inches deep, about the size of your fist if you put it in like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, very detailed patterned around it. This stonework is extremely expertly carved, but it is very, very old.
Okay, I quickly but carefully put my hand in.
Okay, you've just feel the cold stone. And it's quite smooth inside, actually, as well. Inside the sconce, you mean? Yeah.
I think again about the 10,000 people and internally ask a question, who are these people?
You get it's not as if it's an answer. Someone speaks to you, but you think you have all of a sudden an understanding who these people might be, and it just floods over you, and all you know is they're your victims.
Can you get me cheer for me? At that, I rush back to the others.
Okay, so you're all back at the cart. She says, "Thank you." She says, "That was extremely useful. I know what we should do. We must head back to the we must head back to the river as quickly as possible and make our way to the capital. So you can all mount up and basically come back the way you came. You can stop on the way for a quick like something to eat because you've been out quite a long time. But on heading back to the river, you notice before you quite a thick black pall of smoke going up into the sky, pretty much straight up. There's very little wind here.
From the boat.
From that direction.
Oh dear.
As you near the river, you come closer and closer to the river. All of a sudden, you see one of your sailors on his face in the grass with an arrow in his back. And as you approach the river, you can see the barge has been burnt to the waterline, and the crew and everyone else lay strewn about the bank, all dead.
Oh, bugger.
I believe the execution has happened.
I guess we're.
Leave it there tonight.
Can we find Belinda?
You can find no one alive.
Gerard!
Do we find Belinda's body?
You can find Belinda's body some way down the river, trapped in some reeds. Unfortunately, she's still appears to have her hands tied behind her back, and she is quite badly burnt.
Gerard, find his body.
Well,
You don't find Gerard's body.
We do.
Gerard's the real. Yeah.
We don't, did you say?
Sorry, you don't.
And that's all, folks.
That's it for this time.
Darn. Ah.
And only 2 dice rolls were rolled that day.
There you go.
Good roleplay session, that. Yeah. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much, Phil.
I'm glad you liked it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much.
Had you puzzling a little bit?
It's brewing nicely.
All right, let's kill the broadcast so that we can say what we really think.
All right.
Bye to Steve and Fiona, Maxine, if you were watching. Bye.
Yeah,
Bye. See you next week.